Murray, Shaka, Hislop and Stevie Nicol here once again in the studio, looking ahead to the weekend's game. And a big one this weekend, if we can call it that, is Manchester United taking on Arsenal. We wanted to show you the odds for this game because Arsenal are heavy favourites to win at Old Trafford, which really does say a lot about how things are going for an out-of-sorts Manchester United right now. Here to talk more about this, we do have Kieran Gibbs and Julien as well. And we wanted to bring up the predictions from our panel, particularly Jules' prediction, because as you see, the odds very much favouring Arsenal. Everything that we've seen this season would very much favour Arsenal. Everyone on the panel would favour Arsenal. However, Jules is going for a draw. So, Jules, what do you know that we don't?
No, nothing. I'm just thinking that despite Arsenal scoring 7 goals against PSV Eindhoven on Tuesday night in the Champions League, this is a team that in the last 2 Premier League matches didn't score, against West Ham and against Nottingham Forest. It's a team that has Mikel Merino as a number 9, which is obviously not ideal. It's still a team that this season has been solid defensively, of course, and we know Saliba, Gabriel, Raya, everything you want, Timber, but that going forward, before the PSV Eindhoven game, where they scored 7 goals with an expected goals of just above 2, by the way, it's been a bit more difficult in terms of creativity. And I think United have done very well in 2025 in the top games against Liverpool, against City, and they are Old Trafford. And I thought they were better against Real Sociedad on Thursday in Spain. So I expect United to, because let's be honest, United are going to defend in this game, Old Trafford or not. And they are always better when they can sit back a little bit and play on the counter. And that's how they got something against Liverpool. That's how they got something against City. And they will do the same against Arsenal. And as much as we would love Arsenal to win, I think they will get something on Sunday too.
What do you think, though, Kieran? Obviously, both teams have had their own scoring issues this season, but we did just see those 7 goals for Arsenal against PSV. Does that mean that they put their goal-scoring issues behind them now?
I hope so. I definitely hope so, Kay. I mean, I think putting the score aside for a second, they just looked more positive as a team. I don't know if that's a fluke or if that's, Mikel's new instruction, whilst finding answers at the other end. But I think now they have to really release the handbrake in order to cause teams problems like they did with PSV the other night.
Going along with what Kieran says there, Stevie?
I'm not so sure. The one thing I thought Arsenal did the other night that they haven't been doing, particularly against Forest and West Ham, was when they were going forward, they weren't thinking about just keeping the ball. They weren't thinking about letting the opposition get back behind the ball and then start all this side-to-side nonsense and get it wide and then come around the other side. They went for it. They went forward and they went at pace. And PSV couldn't handle it. As long as they don't slow it down and let United get back into position. And that's why I've gone for a 3-1 win.
Is your 2-0 win a comfortable one, Shaka?
It's an uncertain one. Well, uncertain as far as I'm concerned because of my own uncertainty around both teams. Now, I'm kind of with everybody in that we're not quite sure what you're going to get from Arsenal, given what you've seen from them before and that lacking of firepower. And on the one hand, you want to say, well, yeah, they scored 7, but it was against PSV. But then I have to remind myself that it's a PSV that got the better of Juventus in the last round. Had Arsenal scored 7 against Juventus, I would feel a whole lot differently about that result on Tuesday night. So I've got to give Arsenal their credit, at least for that. PSV certainly are better than ordinarily you would think, given, as I mentioned, that result against Juventus. For Manchester United, though, and I get what Jules is saying about they were better than Sociedad, they were better than Real Sociedad for 70 minutes, no question. And then all of a sudden they concede. And Manchester United concede. We know that. They aren't very good defensively. And from the time they conceded that first goal, it was a team that seemed a little bit lost, that were very vulnerable. Now, if Arsenal get a goal, let alone an early goal in this one, who knows which way it'll go for Manchester United. So I think there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts for both teams here, but without question, Arsenal are the better team. I don't think Old Trafford has the kind of mystique that it once did. Arsenal go there, get the result that they need, simply because they're better.
You got an Arsenal side that absolutely will not be scared to go to Old Trafford, and you got a Man United side who, at home, have looked timid and looked scared. And so, for me, it sets up for Arsenal. You know, Manchester United going forward. Yes, they dominated the other night, and they got one goal. I mean, they can't make the right decision. They're not quite sure, I don't think, what they're actually trying to do. They don't have a goal scorer. They certainly don't have a centre forward. So where's Man United goals coming from? I don't know. Arsenal, on the other hand, they could just have opened the door the other night.
Yeah, future looking bright as well for Arsenal at the moment. We saw two teenagers in Ethan Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly combining to score a Champions League goal. First time two English teenagers have ever done that. But on the discipline of Lewis-Skelly, this is what Mikel Arteta has had to say. We will support him and help him, but the line is really thin in this sport, and he needs to understand that. Now, obviously, we saw him subbed in the first half against PSV. He could have been sent off in that game as well, Kieran. What are your thoughts on what Mikel Arteta's had to say and on this player and his discipline right now?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a big Lewis-Skelly fan. I think he has tremendous capacity. The belief in his ability can take him really far. You know, when you're young and fit and as strong as he is, you know, you can be fearless, and he is. He's absolutely fearless. There's no doubt about it. I believe that he's a midfielder by trade, and you know, when you're a midfielder and you've learned, you know, the game and you're kind of wired that way, you can take a bit more risks with your tackles and your behaviours because you're in the middle of the park and you've always got another line behind you. And so I think that maybe, you know, when you're a defender, you can't take as much risk. You have to be a little bit more on the cautious side, because that's it adds another dimension to Arsenal if he can do that. But he just needs to harness. He needs to harness it. He definitely needs to harness it. But he seems like an intelligent kid. You know, I don't know him, but he seems like an intelligent boy, and he seems like he's going to learn from it. You know, I'm not concerned that this is going to be, you know, a regular occurrence. I'm sure Mikel will be on him, you know, and the staff intensely now because, you know, obviously it can't continue. But I think he'll come out the other side as a wiser player.
Obviously, he is only 18, Jules. What are your thoughts on this and what he does have to learn at his young age?
Well, I think it's a learning process, really. And Kieran is right. The change of position is the key here, really. He's got 12 games in the Premier League for Arsenal, 8 as a starter. Left back. He used to play in central midfield in all the youth teams. He used to be way above and way better than anybody else. And that's why he's got the ability, like Kieran just said, to be able to step up in midfield, which Mikel loves his fullbacks to be able to do, and to create an overload in midfield in that way. Zinchenko before, Timber, you know, others, and now Lewis-Skelly too. The problem is on the defensive side, as we saw in that foul that we just showed, the second one against PSV, where there should have been a second yellow every single day of the week. He doesn't need even to go because he's not that late, he's not that beaten really. So things like that he still needs to learn. He's only 18 years old. And again, this is not just his first season with the pros. It's his first season with the pros in a different position than the one he's played pretty much all his life so far. So it's still part of the learning process, but he just has to be a bit more careful.
Let me come to you on this, because I want to go twofold on it. Obviously, the position he's playing right now, and the thoughts from you on how you actually do develop discipline for a young player like this.
He has one thing to learn playing fullback, and that is it's not about winning the ball. It's about affecting the play. It's about getting yourself in a position where you're making the guy on the ball go backwards, or you're taking him into an avenue that you want him to take him, where there's other defenders to help you. It's as soon as you get rid of that, it's not about winning the ball and winning challenges and looking like a big strong guy and I'm not going to let anybody get past me. You can do all of these things by getting yourself sorted positionally and then calming down and just do the basics. Just don't try and always win the ball, because that's, to me, seems like what he's doing right now. A
little bit tricky right now. They are 14th in the Premier League table as it stands. Their FA Cup title defence dream is over, and their campaign hope lies in their Europa League success right now. Ruben Amorim has been asked today about the comparisons between him and Arteta, and he said, "I will not have the time Arteta had. I feel that. It's a different club, so we just need to survive with the players on Sunday." Is there any way he would lose his job this season, Jules?
No, I don't think so. Not this season. I don't even think probably next season. I mean, United don't have the money to sack him anyway. It's just as simple as that. So I'm not sure I agree with him on how long he would have at this club. And is it a different club? I mean, in which way? Okay, it's a bigger club. Yeah. Okay, maybe it's a club that has been more successful than Arsenal. Yeah, sure. It's a club that once was the biggest club in the world. Sure, not anymore. Not when you're 14th in the table. Not after the season that you've just had. Even if you won an FA Cup and a League Cup in the last 3 years, really. So I think they will give him time because they have to. This is the only thing they can do. One, they believe in him. And two, they can't sack again a manager and start from scratch again. And that will cost them far too much money, considering how much they have invested in Amorim and in his staff too. So he will be there next season. He'll probably be there the season after. What's for sure, at some point, he has to show some improvement too from the team. Otherwise, yeah, inevitably, if they keep finishing 14th 3 seasons in a row, he won't be there anymore. But I think they believe that he can improve this team. They will change a lot of things in the squad in the summer. A lot of players will go, a lot of players will arrive, and that won't be easy for him as well to manage that new squad. But surely at some point they will get better, and that will strengthen his position in a way to stay a bit longer.
Did I read that and take it incorrectly? We're going to survive on Sunday. Mm-hmm. What kind of statement is that before a big game? I mean, if I'm a Man United player or a Man United fan, and I'm reading a couple of days before the game, the manager's talking about surviving at home on Sunday.
But isn't it about surviving for them this season?
Yeah, but don't say that. I mean, we all love the fact that he's been honest a lot of the time. It's great for us. But you can't say that.
Just add it to the list, I see. Add it to the list of crazy things that Amorim has said.
You're Man United, Shaka, at home. In a big game against historically one of your biggest rivals. And you're talking about surviving.
I mean, how are they going to survive these games? Obviously, you've got Arsenal coming up on Sunday. OK, Leicester City. But then followed by that, you've got Nottingham Forest, Manchester City and Newcastle away as well, Shaka. You probably are talking about survival a little bit there.
Yeah, we keep saying it. This is not a great Manchester United team. And it's a team that is lacking confidence, as we spoke about earlier, is not getting it from their manager. I'll be honest, saying that they're going to survive on Sunday is not by any stretch the worst thing Amorim has said in the last few weeks. And that's a concern. When a team is lacking in confidence, the last thing you need to hear from the last person you need to hear it from is that we're the worst Manchester United team ever, that we're just hoping to survive against Arsenal. At home, by the way, we're just hoping to survive at home. Just added to you know all the crazy things that have been said about this United team, and then you have a run of games that will determine. No, I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say here. I nearly said going to determine what happens during the course of this season. But let's be honest, Manchester United, they're not. I don't think they're going down. They're not going to be in the top half of the table.
They're in no man's land.
It's abject mediocrity. So these games are just about, well, let's get through them, let's get to the summer, and let's figure things out. So I stopped myself from saying that it's going to determine a lot about this. But it's true, this season's petered out. This season's done.
Kieran, you're obviously enjoying this, hearing that Amorim saying that they're just going to have to survive on Sunday at Old Trafford against Arsenal.
But Shaka's right, though, isn't he? Like, that's the reality of where Manchester United are right now. And, you know, gone are the days of the classic rivalries between these two big clubs. You know, how far are we, you know, will that ever come back again? I have no idea. It just, you know, from not just from the manager and the squad, but just right the way through the club, it just looks really unhealthy right now. And as Shaka says, it kind of just feels like another game that's just going to go by, and, you know, they might lose 1-0, and, you know, there just hasn't been a reaction from this Manchester United side in so long now that it's just become the norm of their, you know, subpar performances.
Yeah, obviously. That is one of the big games coming up this weekend.